Imagine living in a world where every choice you make, what to wear, where to walk, when to speak, is shaped not by freedom, but by fear. For millions of women, this is not imagination, it is daily life. From childhood, they are taught to be careful, to stay alert, to avoid danger that comes not from the world itself, but from men within it. Behind every locked door, every avoided street, and every anxious glance lies the shadow of male violence, a force that quietly defines how women move, think, and exist. It is not only about bruises or broken bones, it's about control, silence, and the limits placed on their freedom. It lives in homes, workplaces, schools, and even online spaces. It shapes their dreams, their confidence, and their choices in ways most men never have to think about. This story isn't just about violence, it's about how that violence shapes the lives, fears, and futures of half of humanity. Male violence has always been one of the most powerful forces shaping women's lives across the world. From homes to workplaces, from streets to schools, it influences how women move, how they speak, how they think, and how they exist in society. It is not just about physical harm. It is about control, fear, and the limitation of freedom. Every act of violence against women sends a message that their safety, dignity, and autonomy can be taken away. This message travels silently through generations, shaping how women live their daily lives. For many women, the threat of male violence starts early. Even as young girls, they are often taught to be careful, to avoid dark streets, to dress modestly, to not talk to strangers, and to always be alert. These lessons are given with love and concern, but they reflect a deeper reality that the world is not equally safe for everyone. A young boy can play outside late into the evening without worry, but a young girl is often called home before sunset. This is not freedom. It is fear disguised as protection. Over time, these restrictions become part of a woman's behavior. She learns to plan her life around safety, not freedom. As women grow older, the fear and presence of male violence do not disappear. It changes its form. In relationships, many women experience emotional, psychological, and physical abuse. Some are controlled by partners who monitor their phones, limit their friendships, or make them feel worthless. Others face violence that leaves scars not only on their bodies but deep inside their minds. The emotional weight of living with such fear can be more painful than the act itself. It teaches women to stay quiet, to avoid conflict, to protect themselves by shrinking their presence. In workplaces, male violence and harassment shape women's opportunities. A woman might think twice before staying late at work or meeting a male colleague alone. In some cases, women face sexual harassment that makes them leave their jobs altogether. Even when they stay, they often have to tolerate inappropriate comments or gestures because speaking out could risk their careers. These experiences are not isolated. They create an environment where women must work harder just to feel safe, respected, and valued. The result is not only emotional exhaustion, but also economic inequality. When women are pushed out of work or choose lower-paying jobs for safety, the impact is felt across families and societies. Public spaces also reflect the power of male violence. Many women avoid walking alone at night, sitting next to certain men on buses, or living alone in unsafe areas. The design of cities, the placement of streetlights, the lack of public transport at night, all of these are shaped by the assumption that women must protect themselves from male violence. It limits where they can go, what they can do, and how they experience the world. A simple walk home becomes a strategic plan. A quick trip to the store after dark feels risky. These constant calculations create mental stress that men rarely experience. Even in digital spaces, the presence of male violence is strong. Online harassment, stalking, and abuse are daily realities for many women. Social media, which could be a place of expression, becomes a place of fear. Women who speak about politics, gender, or even their personal lives often face violent messages and threats. Many choose silence over confrontation. The internet, like the streets, reflects the same imbalance of power. It is another reminder that women's voices are often punished when they try to be free. Within families, the cycle of violence continues. Children who witness violence at home carry its shadow into adulthood. Boys may learn that aggression is power, while girls may learn that silence is safety. These lessons pass from one generation to the next, quietly shaping relationships and expectations. A woman raised in a violent home might find it hard to trust, to feel safe, or to believe she deserves respect. The damage is invisible, but it runs deep. Society often blames women for the violence they experience. People ask why she stayed, why she didn't report it, or what she was wearing. These questions turn the responsibility away from the abuser and place it on the victim. This blame adds another layer of pain. Many women never speak about their experiences because they fear being judged or not believed. The silence that follows keeps the cycle alive. When society refuses to listen, violence hides behind closed doors, protected by shame and denial. The legal system, too, often fails women. In many countries, reporting assault or harassment is a long, painful process. Police may not take reports seriously. Courts may dismiss evidence. Victims are forced to relive their trauma in front of strangers. Many give up before justice is served. When laws and institutions fail, they send a message that women's suffering does not matter as much as men's reputation or freedom. This failure of justice shapes how women see themselves in society, not as equal citizens, but as people whose pain is negotiable. In some cultures, male violence is justified through traditions or religion. Women are told to obey their husbands, to tolerate abuse for the sake of family, or to remain silent to protect honor. These beliefs turn violence into duty. A woman who leaves an abusive marriage is often judged more harshly than the man who hurt her. In extreme cases, honor killings or forced marriages are carried out under the same justification, that a man's control over a woman's life and body is acceptable. Such systems make it nearly impossible for women to live freely without fear. The impact of male violence goes beyond individual suffering. It shapes entire societies. When half the population lives in fear, creativity, confidence, and potential are suppressed. Women who could be leaders, innovators, and changemakers are forced to focus on survival instead. The loss is not just theirs, it belongs to everyone. Societies that allow male violence to continue are societies that waste talent, hope, and humanity. Psychologically, the effects of violence can last a lifetime. Anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress, and low self-esteem are common among survivors. Even after leaving abusive environments, many women struggle with feelings of guilt, shame, and distrust. They may find it hard to form healthy relationships or believe in their worth. Healing requires time, support, and understanding, yet many women are denied all three. The lack of accessible mental health care adds to their suffering. At the same time, women have always found ways to resist and survive. Many create support networks, shelters, and organizations to help others. Women's movements around the world have fought for legal reforms, awareness campaigns, and education programs. From #MeToo to local grassroots movements, women continue to break the silence. These efforts challenge the culture of violence and slowly change how societies view gender and power. Each time a woman speaks out, she opens the door for others to do the same. Education plays a vital role in breaking this cycle. Teaching boys about empathy, respect, and equality from an early age can change the way they see women. Schools and families must create spaces where discussions about consent, boundaries, and emotions are normal. When boys learn that strength does not mean domination, they grow into men who do not need violence to feel powerful. Similarly, girls must be taught that they have the right to safety, voice, and freedom. Empowering them with knowledge and confidence can protect them against manipulation and abuse. Media also shapes how society understands male violence. When movies or TV shows portray abuse as romantic or acceptable, they reinforce dangerous ideas. But when they show the real impact of violence, the pain, fear, and loss, they can help change public perception. Responsible storytelling can challenge stereotypes and inspire empathy. It can teach people to see violence not as a private issue but as a social problem that requires collective action. Communities must also play a part. Neighbors, friends, and relatives often know when a woman is being hurt but stay silent out of fear or shame. Breaking that silence can save lives. Creating safe spaces for women to share their stories without judgment encourages healing. Community awareness programs and support groups can make a difference, especially in places where formal institutions fail. Economically, empowering women reduces their vulnerability. Financial independence gives women choices. It allows them to leave abusive relationships and build their own lives. When societies invest in women's education, job opportunities, and safety, they create a foundation for equality. Violence thrives in situations of dependence and powerlessness. By addressing inequality, we address the roots of violence itself. It is also important to involve men in the solution. Male violence is not only a women's issue, it is a men's issue. Most men are not violent, but silence allows violence to continue. Men must speak out against abuse, challenge toxic behaviors, and support survivors. When men model respect and accountability, they influence others. True change will come only when men and women work together to redefine strength and masculinity. Religion, when interpreted with compassion, can also be a tool for peace. Many faiths emphasize justice, love, and equality, yet these messages are often overshadowed by patriarchal traditions. Religious leaders have the power to challenge harmful interpretations and promote respect for women. When communities hear these messages from trusted voices, cultural change becomes possible. Ending male violence is not simply about protecting women, it is about rebuilding the foundation of humanity itself. It is about creating a world where women can walk freely without fear, where their bodies and voices are not treated as property, and where equality is not a dream but a lived reality. The fight against male violence is not a women's fight alone, it is a human responsibility. Because when half of humanity lives in fear, the entire world suffers. Families lose peace, communities lose harmony, and societies lose progress. Real change begins with awareness, but it must go beyond words. It begins in homes where boys are taught that strength is not measured by dominance but by kindness, where men understand that respect is the highest form of power. It continues in schools that teach empathy, in laws that punish abuse without hesitation, and in workplaces that value safety as much as success. Every act of courage, every voice that refuses silence, chips away at the culture of violence. When women are free from fear, they can dream without limits, create without hesitation, and lead without restraint. Their strength lifts entire generations. The world becomes brighter, more just, and more humane. Ending male violence is not just a goal, it is the path to a better future for all. Because when women are safe, humanity truly becomes whole.